3, mind you, okay? To do otherwise, when challenged under FOIA, would result in the exposure of intelligence information, sources, and methods which could harm our national security and severely undermine NSA activities in general. And, of course, she signs that. That's Elizabeth Brooks, Chief of Staff of the FOIA Privacy Act. So there you go. Even in 1963, she can neither confirm nor deny the existence or non-existence of any information that we may have kept on your father 50 years ago, okay? That's how bad these people are. But it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. It looks like a lot of the rats are leaving the ship. They're so hated that they've got to put some new faces in there. It was just this last week that Mike Rogers tried to wrest away a reformation of some of the practices of the NSA onto his committee from the Judiciary Committee. Stay tuned. We're going to be right back with some more information, and we're going to talk to you about how Turkey was covered. Talk about Operation Mockingbird, a great example. We'll be right back.
In the last 50 years, iodine has been phased out of our staple foods and replaced with the halogen bromine, a practice now banned in nations around the world. Guess what else is in the halogen family? Fluoride. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Jones here. In 1924, the federal government did the right thing and encouraged salt producers to add iodine. It's the good halogen on the periodic table, and the results are on record. Reports documented a 15-point IQ increase in areas that had previously been deficient in iodine. Bottom line, iodine is important. Unbound, clean, in a glycerin base. Nascent iodine was the answer for myself and my family. You will find Survival Shield Nascent Iodine exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com. InfoWars Life Survival Shield Nascent Iodine isn't just for emergencies. I take it every day. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. Why does the United States spend the largest percentage of GDP in the world on healthcare? Why do we have the highest cancer rates on the planet, the highest rates of diabetes, autism, and every other major disease? It all comes down to one thing. We are what we eat. Our food is devoid of nutrition and processed with poisons and additives. Our water is filled with toxic poisons and big pharma runoff. All of this has been engineered by design. We can turn the tide against the eugenicist by giving ourselves the nutrients our body desperately needs. To learn more, visit InfoWarsHealth.com. The site is literally packed with audio and video featuring top health professionals who don't bow down to big pharma. The fight against the New World Order starts with you, and you can't stand against the machine if you're sick, tired, and obese. When you visit InfoWarsHealth.com, be sure and check out the catalog with nearly 400 life-changing products and get free shipping when you sign up for AutoShip. The facts are in. The studies are legion. Sodium fluoride and other toxic members of the fluoride family are devastating the health and cognitive ability of the American people. So why are the social engineers adding it to the water? Simple. Dumb down the host population that the parasitic technocracy is feeding on. We may not have been able to get fluoride out of the water supply yet, but we can help to get it out of our bodies. I am extremely excited to announce the exclusive InfoWars Life Fluoride Shield formulation, fusing 6 of the best documented ingredients from around the world to help the body remove not just toxic fluoride residues from the body, but a whole host of toxic substances. Let's take a stand against the globalists by blocking their poisons with Fluoride Shield. I use Fluoride Shield every day. Secure your Fluoride Shield and other pioneering formulations at InfoWarsLife.com today. Let's start cleansing our bodies now and support the Info War at the same time. That's InfoWarsLife.com. The globalist social engineers are not just targeting us with propaganda. They are manipulating our genetics. We are being targeted at every level by estrogen mimickers that lower our testosterone and other hormones and natural compounds that the body needs. After consulting top doctors, nutritionists, pharmacists, and others, we have developed what I believe is the ultimate non-GMO organic super male vitality formula sourced from powerful organic herbs and then concentrated for maximum potency. Super Male Vitality was developed to activate your body's own natural processes instead of using synthetic chemicals. Super Male Vitality by InfoWars Life is so powerful that I only take half the recommended dose. For a limited time, we are offering 15% off Super Male Vitality at InfoWarsLife.com to introduce you to this powerful supplement. Visit InfoWarsLife.com today to secure your Super Male Vitality. InfoWarsLife.com.
Coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
You are obsolete, Mr. Wordsworth.
A lie. No man is obsolete.
You have no function, Mr. Wordsworth. You're an anachronism, like a ghost from another time.
I am nothing more than a reminder to you that you cannot destroy truth by burning pages.
You're a bug, Mr. Wordsworth, a crawling insect, an ugly, misformed little creature who has no purpose here, no meaning.
I am a human being.
Words, Mr. Wordsworth, that have no substance and no dimension, like air, like the wind.
I don't care. I tell you, I don't care. I'm a human being. I exist. And if I speak one thought aloud, that thought lives, even after I'm shoveled into my grave.
Delusions, Mr. Wordsworth. Delusions that you inject into your veins to make you think you have a strength when you have no strength at all. You have nothing but spindly limbs and a dream, and the state has no use for your kind.
Resistance to tyrants is obedience to God. It's Alex Jones.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight, your host today. Now, just before the break, we were talking about Operation Mockingbird aspects of Mike Rogers and others, and we're going to get back to that. But before we do, this is a story that just came out yesterday about DARPA project that is seeking a hive mind for drones. This is something that is very, very concerning to a lot of people who understand the issues here. To give this kind of autonomous decision-making to warlike robots, or conversely, to consolidate the decision-making, even if the decision to fire is held by a human being, to consolidate this decision down to one individual is a very, very dangerous thing. And this is the kind of thing that we see happening, this kind of consolidation. Here's the story first. It says the Pentagon's research arm is launching a program to unite existing and future drones into hives, where individual autonomous aircraft will share data and operate together against targets on a battlefield, all while being controlled by one human. Now, they're trying to get increasing autonomy for these robots. And, of course, they keep telling us that it's going to simply be, that is going to be under the control of a human, but that's still not very reassuring. You know, I just recently watched with my family a 1995 movie called Crimson Tide. Very good movie, very well done. Denzel Washington, Gene Hackman. It's about a subcrew, and it's a crisis that's going on, very, very much like the crisis that's happening today in the Ukraine, where you've got some breakaway people inside of Russian Federation, get some controls of some nuclear weapons. It looks like they're going to perhaps launch those. And so initially, a command goes out to the submarine crew that they need to fire a nuclear weapon. And so they're waiting for confirmation from this, but the whole gist of the movie is the conflict between the commander of the sub and the number two, who's Denzel Washington, as to whether or not they're going to get confirmation from this after an accident happens on the sub and they're somewhat disabled from their communications. The whole thing is that there are checks and balances, human checks and balances, that you've got multiple people involved in this decision-making process. It isn't just one person who's involved in making this decision or this call. It's multiple people who have that choice. It's distributed, and there are checks and balances. But as we see what's happening at the very end of the movie, it says, don't worry, this couldn't happen anymore because that's now been consolidated under the control of one person. But we don't want to see more and more consolidation of power. That's true whether or not it's legal power, whether or not it's political power, or whether or not it is nuclear weapons. We don't want to see that consolidated anymore. Of course, you have one person who has his finger on the button, and it was kind of scary to realize that for decades, the firing code was just a series of zeros. As Stefan Molyneux said, we were just a nuclear disaster away from somebody leaning on a keyboard. But it's very concerning to see what DARPA is doing with this, how they are making these robots autonomous. This is a very, very dangerous trend. But getting back to, and I guess before we get back to Operation Mockingbird, let me go on this this Noah story here, because as many of you know, the movie Noah came out this Friday, and a lot of people have had a lot to say about it. And I'm interested to know what some of you think that may have seen it. And the number is 877-789-ALEX. Now, there was an op-ed piece in Time Magazine from Ken Ham with Answers in Genesis, and he said, except for some of the names in the movie, there's hardly any remnant of the Bible's account of the flood in Genesis 6 through 9 that's recognizable. But he and others have pointed out that what this really is a very anti-human agenda. I've seen this before personally. I took my sons about 12, 13 years ago to London, and we went to the Children's Museum, and they had a loop that was playing at the playground area constantly, and it was about Gaia. The whole idea that the earth is some kind of a living organism or some kind of a god, and that humans are merely a destructive virus that we need to either control to a very, very small amount, population reduction, depopulation actually, or we need to exterminate altogether for the good of the earth. That's essentially the view that is being put out by this movie from Darren Aronofsky. And a screenwriter whose name is Brian Godawa got the script early, and he wrote about this last fall, I believe, maybe even earlier than that. And he went to see the movie because a lot of people were kicking back and saying, that's not what the movie is about. You haven't seen it. They're probably going to change it. He saw it, and he said, it's basically exactly what I have seen. He said, I finally saw the movie. Now I know why Paramount and its hired Christian marketers would not let me into an early screening to correct my analysis of the early script of Noah. It's because I was right. He said the Noah movie is ugly, it's anti-human exceptionalism, it's enviro-agitprop, in other words, environmental propaganda, and it's poorly done. I can't recommend this movie, not just because of its god-awful theology, or should I say earthology, but because it's god-awful filmmaking. He said, like The Last Temptation of Christ, all the controversy overshadowed the fact that it was just plain terrible storytelling. Same thing here. And he says, I've got to say something to all those Christian leaders and film critics who saw the early screening and kept defending the movie, saying in reference to my blog post, the movie's different, you can't talk about it because you haven't seen it. He says, shame on you, because you knew when you were saying it wasn't true and I was right. You were tools, and Aronofsky is laughing at you behind your backs. He's subverting your sacred story, and he's not even doing it well, but you're still supporting it. And you know what they're doing is they're actually changing it to their religion, which is an anti-human, anti-depopulation, eugenics agenda. That's one aspect of it. That's what they're selling you. The only sins are the sins that are being committed by those against the earth. And of course, we see in it, as Ken Ham pointed out in his example, he said that Noah wants to exterminate all of mankind. He doesn't want his sons to have children, and when it looks like, and when the granddaughters are born, he tries to kill them. This is the message from this human-hating film that they try to put out as a biblical epic. Now let's go to a couple of your phone calls here. We've got Truth Raider in Oregon. Truth Raider, what do you want to talk about today?
It's so wonderful to talk to you for the first time. You're doing a great job there. Usually I call in regularly and I talk to Alex. I have two things on my mind that's going on. Missed it last week because Alex was busy with Mark talking about his difficulty with YouTube and being blocked out. But there was an anniversary. As a matter of fact, there were two anniversaries.
You know what? We're coming up to a commercial break. Hang on. We'll be right back to you. We'll be taking some more calls. And we're going to be talking about the Operation Mockingbird aspects of what happened with Turkey this last week, as well as Piers Morgan finally leaves and he takes a couple of shots more. But not with a gun, just with his mouth. We'll be right back.
Alex Jones here to tell you about how you can help spread liberty worldwide while also enjoying what I have found to be the best tasting 100% organic coffee on the planet. For more than a decade, my favorite coffee has come from the high mountains of southern Mexico, where the Chiapas farmers grow their unique shade-grown Arabica beans. We have now managed to secure these sought-after beans in a highly customized blend. Discover and try a bag of the Patriot Blend 100% organic coffee at InfoWarsLife.com. This coffee gives gives you a long, smooth pick-me-up for hours without the headaches and heartburn that so many other coffees give me personally. Hands down, this is my favorite coffee, and it's taken us years to secure connections directly to the Chiapas Mexican farmers. Drop by the site today, order a bag or two, and I don't think you're going to be disappointed. Available in original or with our immune support in